Right now we have Webinar Jam going live online. All right, I can see everybody. Hello from Norway, or Ezra's in Norway. Hi, Ezra. And Maurice from the Netherlands, of course. Good to see you. Paulette from the Bahamas. I received your amazing email the other day and the attached letter. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you. Hopefully sooner than later, one of these days. And also somebody else from the Netherlands. I hope you guys know each other. Danielle and Ezra. I'm sorry, Maurice from the Netherlands. If you don't, connect on here because it's so important that we connect with one another. We have Katisha, boy, from New Caledonia. And it's 3 a.m. right now. Oh my goodness gracious alive. Wow, you guys, that is a hungry student, hungry for the kingdom of God. Well, I'm so glad you're able to join us, Katisha, and I hope to meet you also one day. And of course, John from Virginia. Hi, John. And Ada, yes, the New Jersey girls are in the house. And another New Jersey girl, Nancy, is on Facebook. We're so happy to see everybody. And we have Praneet from Ontario, Canada. So we have people from all regions, all over the place, everybody joining us live right now. I have a few things on my mind, 2 things. And a lot of times, as you guys know, I like to talk from my experience, how we're applying kingdom living on a practical level, the principles of it, operating in it, how we treat one another, staying right standing. These are so important. Now, we had a few instances that happened in the past week or 2 since the last webinar. And hi, Zubin, good to see you. And I really wanted to address some things because when you apply the principles of God, they work. And here's the thing. Our #1 goal as agents of change, as kingdom citizens in the kingdom of God, is to influence for the kingdom of God. And it's not a mystery how to influence. When you operate in the standards of God and your lifestyle is different, it's a different culture when you're living in the kingdom. How we treat people is so different. And so these are huge aspects. You know, Jesus said, they will know you are my disciples by your love. That's how they'll know you're part of me. And we stand out. That's the nature of being in the kingdom, is you stand out from the crowd. And of course, I'm not saying this or meaning this in a prideful way, but in a way of excellence, and how we operate in our businesses, how we operate and we manage our attitudes. All of these things are incorporated when it comes to influencing the kingdom of God. Because here's the thing, it comes down to this. People aren't just listening to what they say. I mean, anybody can post inspirational posts on Facebook, you know, and it's good to see all that stuff, but how are we living our lives? That's what people are watching. And when it comes to influencing others, you know, everybody has seasons, high seasons, low seasons in their life. And most people in their low season will seek you out if they know of you, if they have a relationship with you, if they observe you, even a coworker. So it's so important how we operate our lives in our homes, which is where everything comes from. Like Dr. Myles would say, my ministry is from my bedroom. Like that's where it all stems from. How my marriage operates, how my husband and I, Matthew, live our lives and conduct our marriage and treat one another and our children. And it all stems from there. So #1 priority is to get our homes in order. We can't be preaching one thing. Hi guys, I see you. We can't be preaching one thing and then living another. And I have to be honest with you guys, it breaks my heart when I get reports of people that see kingdom people living a lifestyle that is different than what the standards of the kingdom are. And trust me, I hear about it. And it's just like, okay, guys, we got to get it together, get it tight. Now, listen, we're not perfect. Marriage is a work in progress. Relationships are a work in progress. Our businesses are a work in progress. How we manage our emotions and treat one another, it's all a work in progress. But let it be a work in progress, and don't be stagnant, stuck in the same place we were a year ago, let alone 5 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. So we all have to work out our own salvation. And that is the key. Nobody can judge us, but we can be a judge of ourselves. Are we progressing in our behaviors, in our attitudes? Are we progressing in our skill level? Are we progressing in our vision? So this is so important. And people are watching. So I'm not saying they're watching, so make sure you act perfect like a robot. No, you be genuine, you be you, and live to the standards of God and treat others how you would want to be treated. So I really want to start segueing. That was kind of laying a foundation of what we covered in the retreat. It's kind of a trampoline bouncing into what I want to talk about today, because I'm experienced this in our business and in our lifestyles and in our personal lives to what I wanted to talk about today. So those of you that are live streaming live, I see everybody joining. Hi, Kim. I see you guys. On the webinar jam, you can actually see the slides. So today, you know, as many of you know, those of you that follow me on Facebook, I just got back the other day. We're launching another office. So as in South Carolina. So as we're going about business, as we're conducting, as we're meeting with people, I'm an observer. My grandma called me the casual observer. So I like to observe things and watch people's behavior and watch how I love watching my husband conduct himself when he's interviewing somebody, or I just like learning and observing, and we can always develop our own skills and learn from one another. So I'm very blessed in the aspect of learning business aspects of my father, but there are many weaknesses he has also. So I take the strengths, and then now I also, you know, have been running my business for 21 years, the hotel, and launching our leadership office the past 2 years. But then I get to watch my husband and how he's learned to operate in business in his realm, which is completely different as an architect, in the past 20 years as he's gone from intern to owning and running his own firm. So now as we're launching ourselves in different areas regionally, I'm learning and observing things. So I don't want anything to be in theory that I talk about. So here's one thing that has just been on my mind. Let me see if I can remember how to change my screen share on. And that's why I want. And it's organic, as it should be. So that's why we don't have to talk, oh, I'm a woman of God. We don't even have to announce that. You know, I think of some of you that are airline stewardesses. They should just see our behavior and our manner and how we operate in regards to being a kingdom citizen and how we treat one another. Allowing the God in us to come out. But first of all, I have to lay a foundation, because we talk about purpose, fulfilling our purpose, manifesting our potential, documenting your vision, becoming an agent of change, becoming yourself, manifesting your potential so you can die empty. Okay, so that is one side of the coin of success. And there's another huge side of the coin that we don't talk about a lot, but I want to make sure I really drive this home today. So to lay the foundation properly, we need to become successful in our lives. And how do we monitor success? What does success mean to us as kingdom citizens? Well, the only way to measure success is to know what you're supposed to be doing. So we can't compare ourselves with one another, and what others may call success in our nations may not be what God considers success. So it's very important we understand what true success is. It is not what we've done compared to others. Success is what you have done compared to what you were born to do. So there's no competition in the kingdom of God. We should be admonishing each other in fulfilling our purpose and encouraging one another in it. And nobody's assignment looks the same. And success in the fulfillment of purpose is in the assignment for which you were created. It is in fulfilling and the completion of your purpose. Then you can die empty. Then God can say, well done, good and faithful servant. So, for instance, I'll give you a good example. Dr. Myles Munroe, his vision statement was transforming followers into leaders and leaders into agents of change. That was his definition of success for his life, when he created followers into leaders and leaders who became agents of change. So that is why that is my mission. Part of my vision is creating agents of change and teaching on the premise. But in order to become an agent of change, you have to understand your potential, discover your purpose, document your vision, initiate it by faith. Those are key components. So we talk about and discuss all that. Now, the secret laws of the kingdom is, for instance, Dr. Myles lived to be 60 years old. He didn't die old, but he died finished. So a full life is not determined by how long we live it. We don't know how many days we have. We don't know how many years we have. But it's in how much we donate to our generation, how much we serve our gift. So, I'll explain a little bit later why this is really what I wanted to share with you today, because we are at our age, Matthew and I are in our 40s, we are living this. We are doing everything we can to disappoint the graveyard. Get it all out. Whatever's inside of you, manifest it. And that's how people see God in you. So it's not by going around saying, I'm in the kingdom of God and you need to get in it. And that's what religion has taught us. Or you need to get saved so you can go to heaven. And that's how we used to think we were influenced. But influence is actually by how we live out the God in us naturally, for people to observe, and they can witness it for themselves. Because there's so much talk around, even on social media, so many postings of things, so many people doing live videos or live streaming of this, but yet their lifestyles don't even reflect what they're saying. And it just breaks my heart when I see this. People who are kingdom citizens, they've come out of religion, but now they understand the kingdom. But if you operate under this lower than the standards that God has set for us, you're still in religion. Because in religion, you can go to church and live a life all week and do whatever you want. So you're still in religion. Man, you cannot separate right standing from the kingdom. You just cannot. They go like this hand in hand. And I know you guys that came to the retreat, that was a big proponent of it, and on the webinar last year. But I really want us to focus right now on two sides of the coin of when it comes to fulfilling your purpose and manifesting yourself. Now, number one, we know if you want to become successful in life, you do not pursue success. You pursue becoming a person of value. And those of you that are at the retreat, you heard Matthew share his experience in becoming irreplaceable, becoming valuable, so valuable. And when you become valuable, promotion is inevitable because you are doing things in excellence. And that's what set Daniel apart in Babylon. He did things in excellence. He set the standards higher than even they were set. So that is so important that we do that on the job, in our business, as a wife, as a mother, as a spouse, as a husband, as a father, as a manager, that we do things in excellence. It's so important. So as you guys know, when you become who you were born to be, you become a person of value. Now, the tough thing is most people don't think they're valuable. They don't even appreciate what they can offer to the world. And it's so important that you understand that you were born to make a difference in your generation, not just to make a living. So I want to make sure that we don't get caught up in the rat race of life and the wrong idea of success either, as far as that goes. So I'm going to try to get to the root of this. So here's what I want you guys to think about after the webinar. Think about this, meditate on this for the next 48 hours. What you need to do in order to become influential, in order to be successful in your life assignment, is ignoring all the things you could be doing and narrowing it down to what you should be doing. You got to continually narrow down your life because we have so many distractions. People are pulling on us. Hi, honey. I'm doing a webinar right now. Go find Amber, okay? You're all wet. They just came in. So it's so important we ignore the distractions in life because we can get caught up in things, and they're good things. And like Jesus said to Martha, you're worried and upset about many things, but only a few things in life are necessary. So as you're going about your business, as you're walking in your vision, which most of you have, especially those of you that have come to the retreats and the symposium, even in that, you will find that your vision gets narrower and narrower and more refined. And that's so important. So when you go as small as possible, you'll be staring at one thing. When you discover what that one thing is, that you cannot not do in your life, then be excellent at it. Do it in excellence. Set the standards high. So extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow we can make our focus. Narrow it down and then do it in excellence. That is the key. I have experienced so many people that are skilled, gifted, but they're sloppy about it. Or they mismanage their gift. But people come and they want it, but then they don't go about it in excellence. Or they have a bad attitude. And then it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. So we have to make sure that we understand that's the other side of the coin, is our behavior when we're operating in our vision, in our purpose, and we're manifesting our potential. So as I've talked about 100 times, success is built subsequentially, like the domino effect. And I'll show you guys what I mean on the webinar jam. Let me share I want to make sure I don't turn the webinar off. I've done that before. Set in motion, it can topple many things, just like a row of dominoes. Now, a single domino, the first one, can bring down the next domino, which is 50% larger than the first one. So when you start off with your vision, it's a gradual process that it happens over time. It's built sequentially. Success happens sequentially. It doesn't happen overnight. There are no shortcuts at all whatsoever. So get that out of your mind. All shortcuts are evil. Don't even entertain them. Get them out of your mind. If you want longevity in your vision, then process. Do not abort the process. Stay with it. Go through it because that is the journey, the process. And it can be tough. You have great seasons and you have seasons that, man, this is tough. But I know the end goal, so I can stick with it. So it's so important we go through the seasons and we go through the process. You'll go through tests. You'll learn experiences. You'll learn what not to do, what to do. And like I suggest to everybody, find a mentor to help you through the process. Now, for instance, I have people that come to me for mentorship. Yes, we have a program when it comes to you becoming an agent of change, but I can't mentor everybody. Number one, it's humanly impossible. But number two, I can only mentor in specifics that are in my realm of expertise. So, for instance, if you want to become professional dancer, I don't have a clue. Or singing, Lord have mercy, I don't have a clue. Those are not my realms of gifting at all. But I can tell you the basic principles, and that's why in my program, the School of Influence for Agents of Change, those basic principles and the premises of success and how to operate in your purpose, manifest your potential, operate in your vision are all there. But when it comes to the specifics and you know your purpose, then you need to find people that can help you in that more specifically. So for instance, if it was singing and you came to me, I would say, listen, I don't have a first clue about singing. Go through the School of Influence. If you're sure that's what you want to do and you're born to do, then I know people that can help you in it. And I can refer you to them. So it's so important that we understand you really need to have mentorship. You need to find somebody that's been there before you and glean from them. And a lot of times this may not be a personal relationship you have with them. It can be from their books. You know, I found recently there's the online e-courses they do called Master Course, Master e-course, and they have people like in actors. They have Kevin Spacey, who brings you through a e-course for if you want to become an actor. They had Diane von Furstenberg, excuse me if I butchered her name, who helps in the design if you want to become a fashion in the fashion industry. So there's different people, like if you want to produce movies. So there's different places where you can get help in your area where you will influence for the kingdom of God. So learn from the world, learn the principles that they operate, but then take those and make them better and operate with character and integrity and bring the standards of God to them. This is so important. But you have to make that first initial step. And most people don't because number one, they don't have the faith, or number two, they don't believe in themselves. And that's what holds so many people back. So I can sit here and say till I'm blue in the face, maximize your potential. But if you don't even believe in yourself and your behavior reflects, I don't think I can really do it, and you never take that first step, then you need to be around people that can help you change your mindset or read books that can encourage you in it. You know, faith cometh by hearing. If you hear more kingdom teaching, the right teachings, it grows your faith. So it's so important that you put yourself in the right environment. Don't expect things to happen if you don't even make the changes that are necessary to be properly put in the right environment. This is key. I'll give you an example. Michael Phelps, we all know who he was. He's one of the most decorated Olympians in the history of Olympics. When he was a teenager, when he was young, he was diagnosed with ADHD. He wasn't able to focus on anything. So until the age 14, so from when he was 14 until his first Olympics, he trained 365 days a year. So his gift was developed into a skill. He became very skilled. And this is what his coach said about him. Channeling his energy is one of his greatest strengths. If you can channel your energy and begin to focus on the one thing you were born to do, that will become your strength. Develop that into a skill. Read books about it. And this is the other thing. It will simplify your life. This is key. Simplify your life to the best that you can, to the lowest common denominator. Get it down, whittle it down, find that sweet spot. Now, of course, we all have responsibilities of family. If you are still on your job and haven't launched yourself into your life assignment yet, that day will come. If you mentally are ready for it. If you mentally have the ability to do it. We all have the ability, but you have to believe you have the capability to do it, which is where a lot of people fall short. So here's one of the keys I want to help you as you narrow and focus down. You have to prioritize everything. And I want to talk about the art of being productive, because it's one thing to know what you were born to do, but it's another thing to do it. We have to be productive in it. So these are the things we have to manage in our life in order to be productive. Manage your attention. Some people have an attention span, like they say, as a gnat, and they're pulled to and fro and they're so easily distracted. So you have to garner your environment so you're not distracted. When I'm writing my book, when I'm preparing for my webinar, I don't look at my emails. I don't look at messages people are sending me. I set a time frame and I have to manage my attention. And this is what you have to do. You do the same thing when you're with your family. You have to manage your attention. You have to turn your iPhone off, put it away, charge it in the other room. Manage your attention. So wherever you are, be there. And that's how you channel your energy and you become great in what you were born to do. The next thing you have to do when it comes to being productive is manage your emotions. This is something we're all working on. managing our emotions. Sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us. And I saw this happen. It's been happening gradually with these people that we're working with when it comes to our restaurant. They don't work for us or anything, but they affect us inadvertently in our business. We're not partners or anything like that, but they cannot manage their emotions. But their gift is just top notch. It's the best in town. But boy, they have no social skills whatsoever, and they have bad attitude and cannot manage their emotions. But yet, they're so skilled and so gifted. They've developed their gift into a skill, and it's the best in town. But they're running everybody off because of their attitude. They cannot manage their emotions. So this is what my husband and I are experiencing when we're having to deal with this. We're having to have a come to Jesus meeting with the people I'm referring to. So you have your gift, you have your purpose, and you're going forward with it. But on the other side, in order to be productive with it, manage your attention, manage your emotions, and thirdly, manage your creativity. We all have the gift of creativity. I just went to South Carolina, North Carolina this weekend. We dropped my husband off in South Carolina for the day. And me and the interior design team firm, they're helping me with my new house. We went to Highland, North Carolina, which is the mecca for furniture. So all the furniture designers bring their furniture in this one building. It is humongous. You can spend days there, but we didn't have days. So we only spent 4 hours, but we had somebody help us tell us exactly the places to go based on my style. So this place was huge. You know, you think of a dining room table. How many different dining room tables can there be? There's 1,000. And some that open up to become bigger, and they're round and they're like puzzle pieces, but they're all contained, and it's amazing. So I'm seeing people's creativity and their furniture, and I go, my gosh, this is amazing how much creativity is found in people in just designing furniture. And this goes with fabrics, this goes with fashion industry, this goes with shoes, this goes with the beauty industry, this goes with jewelry industry, this goes with hair industry, so many styles and colors and options. I mean, it's just amazing the creativity that people see. And that is the God in them coming out. When people see your creativity, whether you're writing music, producing music, I know my friend in Immokalee is doing that, Jonathan. And it's just, I love seeing people being creative because that's the God in you being manifested. When people see that, they recognize it and they call you great. But that's the God in you, and that's how you influence. So be creative. Like, get the limitations off of your mind and be creative in whatever you want to do. You know, I had somebody, she's a sweet, sweet lady. I met her a few years ago. She came to me, wanted to meet with me privately a few weeks ago. And she said, I finally figured out what I was born to do. And I know what it is. But she was so concerned with the A, B, C of it. Like, do I need to structure the meetings this way? Or how do I do this? I said, listen, do it however you want. There's a million ways that you can do what you were born to do. And this was specifically, she knew what it was. And I said, but there's 4 or 5 different ways that you can do it. Do it however you want. Be creative. Use the gifting that's inside of you. But sometimes we get so locked in this path. Like, okay, this is what I was born to do, and I need to do it right. So I need to make sure that I figure out what the right way is. But rather than saying, okay, I know what I was born to do, now be creative in doing it. You know, for instance, there's some people that are professional in writing books. So you can have a book that's done professionally, that's done methodically, that's done. But when it came to me with writing my book, people will still read my book, even though if I didn't have it professionally done. But my book may look better, more professional, but I did my book in the way that I am, and I wanted my voice in it, and I wanted it to be my story and me. So I wrote my book, but I didn't want to spend $8,000 on, well, I didn't have $8,000 to have somebody help me with my book or whatever it is. I have no idea. And I may not be a professional book writer, but I can figure out how to write a book. There's books on how to write a book. I read a book on how to write a book. There's e-courses on how to write a book. There's different ways. So there's not one right way to write a book. There's different book styles, writing styles. You can have chapters or you don't have to have chapters. I mean, there's just so many ways, but there are basic principles and premises, yes, you have to operate. So read on what those are. You can YouTube how to write a book. I'm sure. I don't know. Probably. So don't be stuck and so rigid, though, that you can't even get the God in you out because you're afraid to take a step because it may not be right. Try it. See how it comes out. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect or what your idea of perfect is, but do it in excellence. And I think that's where some people get caught up in is, say, for instance, you want to start a Bible study. Well, I don't know when I should do it and how I should do it and da-da-da-da-da. Just do it. Just try something. There's no right way or wrong way to do Bible study, but there are basic premises. Don't have your TV running. Don't have kids running all around rampant. Make sure there's plenty of parking space. Find a place that there's parking for everybody that wants to come or what have you. But just try it and do it. Don't be so rigid and locked in. You never step out because you're afraid it might not be right. Do it in excellence. Do it to the best of your ability and just try it. Just step out. So manage your creativity. And here's a key to being productive. Write it down. And I'm going to quote David Allen. I haven't read this book yet, but I bought this book. It's a bestseller. Somebody recommended on a blog that I read. It's Getting Things Done. That sounds like a book all of us could read, right? And it's The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. I haven't read it yet, so I can't say I recommend it. But when I did glance through it, I guess the premise, according to the reviews, is write everything down. Doesn't matter how you organize it. It could be an Excel spreadsheet. It could be in a Word document. That's how I did my vision. But write it down. And the author of the book said, your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. And that's a key. Get the ideas out, put them, write them down. I have it. I personally use right now, I have a specific notebook when I talk to my authority. And so I write things down in this book and I keep it in this book for how he's helping me as the vision goes forward. And I have specific questions for him. But then there's other things that I use, and I use my notes program in my iPhone. And I have, I think, over 200 notes in here, but they're documented and categorized by category. So if you have an idea for a book, get this out and write down chapter ideas but just get the ideas out. Like he said, your mind is for having ideas. That's where the creativity comes out, but it's not for holding them. And you'll forget a lot of times. So write them down. That's a key pretty much for this book. And that's what Dr. Myles taught in the mentorship program when it comes to your vision, is writing it down. Get it out of you. So if you have an idea in the middle of the night, wake up and write it down. I promise you, you'll go back to sleep quicker and sooner than if you don't write it down. So write it down. Get it out. Maybe it'll pop up again in a few months or something. You'll go back and go, yes, I have that idea. Sometimes I'll go back to my notes and I wrote an idea a few years ago or a book or something, and I go, man, that was it. I was right on because I actually did do it. And a lot of times I'll expound on an idea and sometimes I won't. But get these things out of you. Document them. Write them down in whichever way works for you, in whichever organizational system works for you. It may be different for you than it is for me. And don't let good opportunities distract you. And here's a quote. If you change your priorities, you change your life. When your mindset is changed, you change your life. When your mindset is changed, your priorities change. My priorities have completely changed from my 30s now that I'm in my 40s, and completely from my 20s into my 40s. But my mindset has changed. My vision has unfolded. I actually documented it, not 8 years ago, whatever it is. And my priorities have changed. So now I'm living everything out, but it's progressing forward. And as I'm progressing in it, my priorities continue to refine themselves because we go through seasons. And they will refine themselves through the seasons as you go forward. Mahatma Gandhi said, action expresses priorities. So be wary of the people that are talkers. There's talkers. They do live, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, they're on here, and they're doing, just watch their lives. What are their actions expressing in their lives? That's the expression of our priorities. So I just want to make sure that us as kingdom citizens, as change agents, that we're not talk, that we're living this out. We're manifesting the God within us. And that's how people see, and that's how we become influential for the kingdom of God. And here's the basis of why I wanted to talk to you today. Let me make sure you don't turn this off. Let me share my screen with you guys on Webinar Jam. I want you to see this. Do everything in excellence. The root word of excellence is XL. X means out from. L, like Elohim, El, God. So when you do things and you excel, you do them in excellence and you excel in them, it is out from God. God coming out in you, manifesting here in the natural realm. God in you coming out. That's how people see them. That's how they see God. When you do things in excellence, when you operate in his characteristics, when you operate like him, when you treat people like others, when you operate in your job in excellence. And again, that's why Daniel was irreplaceable. He was valuable to the king. So everything you do in excellence. This is the God in you coming out when you're producing your music, when you're on the job as a stewardess, when you're a waitress. Do everything in excellence as unto God, but you're serving man. This is key. And you guys, I want you to understand, this is how you get promoted to the next season, how you get promoted on a job, is when you do things in excellence, when you initiate, when you have initiative. And people can see it when you do things in excellence. When you do your graphic design, do it in excellence. Learn how to refine your gift even more. Develop it. Become the best in your industry. If that is your gifting, make sure you're gifting first. Don't even try if it's not your passion. Please don't do that. Sorry, guys. I have to keep hitting the camera on here. All right, I'm going to share this picture with you guys. And I'm seeing this operate now, how many years? 2009. So that's about 7-8 years now we're going since my husband launched his firm. And now we went, as some of you know, to open our 4th office in on Facebook. If you follow me on my private page, you've seen it. But we picked out the office. We had a gentleman that came to us that lives up there. He used to work for my husband 12 years ago in the old firm. He didn't work for him, but he was under him. My husband was his supervisor. And back then, this gentleman, his name is Mitch, operated in excellence. He had integrity. He's a God-fearing man. And he emailed Matthew and said, I heard through the grapevine you're learning, you want to expand your business. And here's what's happening, and this is what's very interesting. In Naples right now, is going down, a commercial building has gone up. Now, we are doing both. My husband does both in the firm. We have about 45 men working for him. Now, as residential goes down and commercial goes up, it depends on how many of these commercial projects. We do so many residential. Well, we may have to lay some people off. We don't have to, because in South Carolina, which is where we're opening our office this year, the residential market is booming. It's just so much building going on there. So we have this gentleman that reached out to us who used to work with Matthew about 12 years ago, and said, I would like to run an extension of your firm up here. And he has a good reputation. He does great work, but he doesn't want to own his own firm because he doesn't have a team. So he's going to run it, but we have the team here already established in Naples. So as the residential work goes down here in Naples, the demand is less. It's going up in South Carolina. So we're going to just filter all the work to the draftsman here, the renderings here. We'll do the renderings. And we have a whole system here. So now we don't have to slow down our Naples office, because the pockets where we're opening other firms, it will sustain the staff that we have, the 45 men that we have here working in the firm. We don't have to hire a whole new staff. You just need 1 or 2 people up there running it. And it's interesting because Mitch told us, he said, the developers are going to be so excited that we're opening a firm here because they are tired of working with architects here. And I go, really? Why? Why? You know, it's not like there's no architects up there. And I said, why is that an issue? And they said, well, they all have egos, attitude, behavior. They're very gifted. They're excellent in their work. They do great work, but they have egos and nobody wants to work with them. So don't be one that you're so gifted and you become prideful about it. You can have confidence in what you were born to do, and confidence when you're operating in excellence and you're serving your gift. Be confident in it. Be humble. That means down to earth. That's what that means. Prideful is you're something you're not, is being somebody you're not. Like think I'm better than I am. But humble is saying, no, it's cool, I've got this, and you're down to earth, but you do your work in excellence. And people want to work with you. They'll love your attitude. They'll get along with you. They won't leave with a bad taste in your mouth. So here's where my husband's gift is expanding in an area, a region, and this is not just one state, the Carolinas. It's very interesting. It's like a tri-state area. So we won't even be limited to South Carolina. We'll be, we'll go into the Carolinas and maybe Georgia, and you never know as it expands. But it's because of his attitude. People want to work with my husband. He has a great attitude. He gets along with people. And a lot of times he's had to bite the bullet. And sometimes you have to bite the bullet. That's what you have to do when you have clients. They may be in the wrong, but you have a good attitude about it. It's okay. We'll work with you. It's all right. Because some people have bad attitudes. But listen, it's okay. Live above all that. Be bigger than all that. And work with that. And people will flock to you for your gifting, but you've got to have the right attitude. Okay, I'm not going fast enough here. Believe it or not. In another aspect, as some of you know, we are opening our first we have preview openings. We're doing private dinners this week. We're getting everything ready. We're testing it out. We're spending a ton of money doing that with food. But we're launching, here's some more pictures. Look how beautiful that is. So we've done a restaurant that integrates my husband's design in it. We don't know the first thing about running a restaurant. I mean, I run a restaurant at the hotel, but it's like a bar restaurant, and it's to the guests. So I don't even have to market outside the hotel. It's primarily for my guests. So here we are doing a restaurant. We don't know much about a restaurant. So here's what we did. We hired people that had a good reputation, and we gave them the creative liberties to do what they are born to do in their area of dominion, their area of gifting. So we don't even have to run the restaurant. We just own it. They run it. We have an amazing staff. There's probably 15 people on staff, and they're all excellent in their area of gifting. They operate in excellence. And we're allowing them to be creative. I'm flipping through pictures for you guys on Facebook Live. You can't see it. You have to go back and watch the webinar jam. Or I post them on the Facebook. So we have and what makes us unique, because there's many restaurants, is we have a coal fire oven. Nobody in town has a coal fire oven. So we can do so many different foods. The flavors, so we can have flatbread, but it doesn't taste like other people's flatbreads. We can have pizza, but it doesn't taste like anybody's pizza in town. And that's what makes us unique. And then we gave the chef creative liberties. We said, this is your restaurant. You do what you were born to do in it. And when he does that, we will have a successful restaurant. And then we can launch more restaurants. We can bring them around the nation. We're already talking about doing that. We haven't even opened this restaurant. But here's the thing. We're not trying to manage or run a restaurant. That's not our area of gifting. But because we've been successful in our area of giftings, we can use those finances and roll them over and invest in another business and let people in their area of giftings operate in it. Sorry, it shuts me down. So that's the key. We're collaborating gifts. So in your own business, let people operate in their giftings. And here's a quote from Dr. Myles. If you become successful in an area in your life, choose one based on your passion, your purpose, you really become influential in all areas of life. That's a principle. And then Dr. Myles said, you cannot influence without success. And without success, you cannot influence. So think about that. So it's important to be successful according to your life assignment. We're not talking about the world's idea of success. But when you are successful in your area of influence, you will be. It works like this, like it fits like a glove, you guys. It's just absolutely amazing. So I want you to understand that and keep that in mind. Everyone has one thing to contribute to their generation. Work on that, develop it, refine it, do it in excellence, and have the right attitude. And I want to finish the last few minutes of the webinar talking and really finishing with attitude. Our attitude is our perception of who we are. Don't believe other people's concepts of you. They may not know who you are. They may not know that you're in the process of becoming yourselves. So that's why we have to make sure we're around the right people. We can't isolate ourselves completely, of course not, but it's important we do position ourselves in an environment with the right people. And that's why so many of you come to the retreats. Those of you specifically regarding this came to the Agents of Change Symposium. We've already gotten people coming to the next one in January, have already gotten their tickets. So you were born for something. You must discover your purpose. Otherwise, you'll die an average person in an average grave. But you're more important than a number. You are so important to your generation. But we cannot live haphazardly. So all of us have the potential, but you've got to have the belief. You got to believe you can actually do what you were born to do. I mean, the potential's there, and it's waiting to manifest. But a lot of times it gets stuck here in our head, and we can't get past our own thinking. You are your number one enemy, period. And if you believe what people say about you, and you take that to heart, and it becomes a belief system, you will never advance forward. You will never die empty. And that's the goal, to die empty. So your mentality must be equal to your belief system. You can never live beyond your belief system. So you have an understanding, okay, I was born to make a difference. I have to manifest my potential. I have to die empty. I have to get it all out. But your mentality and your belief system must line up to what you know, what I'm saying to you. And I think this is one of the biggest hindrances. So here's what we've experienced this week, what I've seen. The difference between a dreamer and an achiever is an attitude. They may know the same things, but they have a different attitude. They may not believe in themselves. They may not think they have the right skill set. They may not think they're educated. Listen, education has nothing to do with it, whether you graduated from high school or not. My father has been successful 10 times in life and failed 10 times in life. And he hardly graduated from high school. He doesn't do emails. He barely texts. He talks text. He doesn't know how to spell that good. I think he's a little bit dyslexic. So he doesn't write. He doesn't read that well. But he didn't let any of those things stop him. He knows his weaknesses. So we have people that email for him. My father doesn't even have a desk. He doesn't even have an office. So you can think outside the box. You can create your own path, be creative, and have the right mindset. Don't let anything or anybody stop you. Do not be your own hindrance. So if you come and you're operating in your vision and you get a setback, is that going to stop you? Or will that make you think, okay, maybe I need to look at the situation another way? Sometimes a setback really isn't a setback. It's God giving you a little detour because there's a different way. Sometimes a setback does come to stop you, and you need to figure out a way to go through it because you know the end result. But keep moving regardless either way. you keep moving forward. And most of the time, these setbacks are opportunities to grow. You learn from those setbacks. When you're cruising in cruise control and life is good, you're just coasting. But those setbacks, the detours, okay, I have to change this, it's a different way. That's where we learn the important things in life. That's where we grow. That's where there's growth in our life. So an attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief system. So a leader is born when you discover your belief system. This is the secret to anyone arising. So don't have a bad attitude about things. People won't want your gift if you have a bad attitude. And here's what Dr. Myles Munroe taught. He said, no amount of training and leadership skills or your associations can ever substitute for the right attitude. So you have to live above what culture has taught us how to treat people. You have to have the belief that you can do what you were born to do. And if you're not sure, then get some training, read some books. You should see all the books that I read. I'm constantly learning and developing. I'm never going to make it. I'm constantly working on figuring things out. So constantly be progressing in your learning. Constantly be investing in yourself. That's the number one investment you can make, is investing in yourself. When you discover who you are, you cannot help but be confident. You are a product of your belief system. Now behave how you believe. Act like it. Second guess before you say something that maybe you shouldn't say. Now here's what I want everybody to write down. Everybody get pen and paper, put it in your iPhone, whatever it is. If you're driving on the road, don't write this down. Your attitude must be right. Marry your attitude to your gifts you were born with. And that's the key. Having the right behavior, having the right belief system, having the right attitude. Marry that with your gift, and you are unstoppable. But most people have their gift, operating in it, developing it, but have a bad or bad attitude. And that will get you every time. Every time. So it's not your ability that makes you successful. It's your mentality. It's how you think. Change your thinking. Change your life. Change your behavior. Manage your emotions. Manage your creativity. Manage your priorities. Manage your distractions. You got to manage these things. This is so important. All of us have the ability, but it's our mentality that will make us successful. Maybe down the road I can give you specific instances of what we're experiencing, but this is paramount when you're operating in becoming yourself. So your true attitude is your true ability is manifested in your attitude. That's the key. Now, I wish some of you on Facebook, I may turn this monitor around, but I want you to see something, especially those that you are in business. Let me share this screen with you. It is, my husband keeps calling me. Let me call you back in 5 minutes, honey. When you're going through your vision, you're launching your business, whatever it is, you guys can Google this. It's, can you see that? I want everybody to see this. It's the iceberg model. This one is done by Peter Leong. It's a change strategy. I'm trying to hold it still so you can see it. So most people look at the upper of the iceberg, what makes a company successful, or what makes a business successful. But in actuality, the human potential is everything that lies below sea level. The waterline. Our mindset, our values, our attitudes, our underlying belief systems, our fears, our prejudices. These are the issues that are hidden, but they have the greatest impact on everything in our lives. It's invisible. You can't see it. But this is what Jesus told us to change. This is what we have to change when we're living in the kingdom. This, even the world recognizes this, and this is what I wanted to show you. According to this model, this leads to breakthrough results and enduring success, longevity, of success. This is where it's found. Now, a lot of times we look what can make a business successful. It's the strategy, the structures, the managing systems, organizational behaviors, the norms, but that's the visible. It's this invisible that makes a culture. It makes a business what it is. It makes a person who they are. And I'll even give you an example. In my husband's firm, there was a gentleman. Let me see if I can do this. I did this. Draftsman. He's an architect. He's not licensed, but he works for a very successful architect in town. And this gentleman, and this is the architect's right-hand man. This gentleman came to Matthew 6 months ago and said, I want to work with you. And Matthew said, yeah, but you work for this gentleman's name, and he's very successful in town. Why don't you, and you're getting paid very well. You can't get promoted any higher. You're at the top of the chain. Why? He says, this architect is so hard to work for. He's like a dictator, and nothing you do is right, and I've had enough. And so it's because of this architect's ego, attitude. Nobody wants to work with him. So how can you have a firm with people working under you and grow and expand and increase your business if you don't have a staff? Nobody wants to work with you. It doesn't work. No matter how gifted or talented you are, it's your attitude, it's your behavior, it's your belief system. So I'm seeing this stuff happen all the time, and I really wanted to share it with you guys to make sure we didn't miss out on it. Now there's one more image I want to show everybody, and you can really apply this to your personal life. The other one was more business, corporate, and you can apply it. This one is more personal, this iceberg example. I love this. This says it all. I'll turn it around so you guys can see it too. Here we go. That's an easier one to see and read. So as you can see, the bottom of the iceberg, which is where the mass is, this is where all the values, the standards are, your belief system, your attitude, your motives, your ethics. This makes up 90% of everything that you do in life. And it directly impacts your knowledge and your skill, which is your abilities. So you can have the ability, which we talk about all the time, your potential, your purpose, your gifting, but you have to have the attitude. You have to have the standards that operate in excellence. You have to have the ethics, the belief, the right belief system, and the pure motives. This is key in whatever we're doing, your motives. This is paramount. So I really help this, if I were you guys, I would print out this picture, put it up on a mirror, put it on your dashboard, put it somewhere so it's a constant reminder. And this is the right standing part also, FYI, when it comes to operating in the kingdom of God. That's where that comes in. We're 8 years into what we're doing as far as my husband's business is concerned. This is one of the biggest reasons why we are successful. My husband could have all the gifts and talents in the world, but if nobody wanted to work with him, he wouldn't have much business. And that's one of the best compliments that anyone can give you. And I've had people come to me and say to me, Trista, people love working with your husband. He's such a joy to be around. He really likes people. And that's what makes him successful. So yes, he's talented in his gifting, but people want to work with him. And he makes people a lot of money. That's the other reason also. But other architects can do the same. But they have egos, or they're so hard to work with, and nobody wants to be around them. So I really wanted to make sure we understood how important our attitude, our behavior, our belief system is when it comes to actually manifesting your potential, when it comes to operating in your skills. Live your life in a way that it will be a joy for people to be around you. They come into your home. Is your home environment the same that you exude when you leave the house? That's key. I mean, people aren't fools. You can't fool people. You cannot fool people. And that's the testimony. where was I at? I think I was getting a pedicure about 2 months ago. And I've been getting it from the same lady probably since Maverick was born. It's about 6 years maybe. And I don't know, we were talking about something. I don't know what it was. And there was a newspaper write-up about what Matthew's doing in town. And the lady that does my pedicure said, you know, I read about your husband and the firm and what you guys are doing, the architecture firm and the restaurant, and you're launching it. And somebody I met, probably someone she gave a pedicure, said she used to work, she knows Matthew through somebody secondhand, and said, no, the family is really as generous as the write-up says. Like, I know them, and I know their lifestyle lives up to what the paper wrote about them. They're genuine, they're real. And this is from my pedicure person. I mean, listen, have you ever heard, you know, it's a small town, people talk, word gets around, you have a reputation whether you realize it or not. People are watching how you live your lifestyle, watching how you speak to one another. If you use vulgar language or if you're just negative about everything, people are watching. And that's where they see the God in you. So let the God in you come out. Manifest it by being and doing everything in excellence. But you can't be everything to everybody. So narrow it down. And whatever you're born to do, do it in excellence and do it with the right attitude. And I will see you at the top. All right, guys, it's 1 o'clock. Gotta go. It's great seeing everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you all around the world. My friend at 3 a.m. who woke up from a place I've never heard of. Thank you for joining me. Love you guys. Good seeing everybody. Grace, I see you. Karen's got to go. Great character, Ada, Maurice. Yes, everybody. Jesse, Paulette. Love you guys. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Stay in right standing and have the right attitude and operate in your gift. Bye. Bye, Shatavia. Bye, Fola. See you guys.